Billie Eilish recently pointed out the issues with consumerism and fandom. Well, actually the sustainability issues with the music industry as a whole, but it definitely does relate to fandoms. Now, if reporters had actually read the article, they would have actually seen it's all about Billie and her whole family's sustainability journey and how sustainability has been weaved throughout their whole life and the concerns with the music industry and these systemic issues that she's bringing up herself in this constant quandary that she's dealing with. Honestly, it's incredibly solutions focused and it's a really good interview, but guess what actually came out from it was, ooh, we can pit fandoms against each other. Who should we target? Taylor Swift, K-pop, and whoever else we can try and muster up, because nothing really sells better than women fighting against each other, right? And that was the outcome from it, instead of being like, oh, we actually need to address these systemic issues. So that's what we're talking about in this video! The second thing which inspired this video was Jaden Animations. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jaden Animations, and when we were actually watching the video, we had this increasing sense of horror as she went across Japan to all of these different stores, and it was about shopping, buying a whole bunch of merch of Pokemon. Pokemon had sent her over there. It's a really, really good video. I'm not slating that. It was more just this, I need to have more mindset, and both of us were just like, oh, this is concerning. Her and her friend had to buy 8 extra suitcases to be able to go back to the US because they bought so much stuff. I really do need to state that I'm not trying to throw shade at any of the fans I'm actually featuring in this video, any video clips, anything. Honestly, this is people literally just sharing the thing that they love with others, and that's kind of what fandom's about, right? It's all about this community feeling. What we're assessing in this video is fandom and consumerism and how that's become inextricably linked. So please don't go being mean to any of them, okay? I'm also not on about any one particular fandom here, because if you're a fan of something, chances are there's a fandom for it, chances are there's a hell of a lot of merch that you can buy for that too. And yes, communities are also created mostly online where people can actually share their passion, share their joy, and find people in this world of increasing separation and isolation. This is all around people's adoration for a person, a franchise, a game, a movie, musical act, sport, you name it, there'll be others like you, and there'll also most likely be fan fiction written about it. But we're not getting into fan fiction today because people like Sarah Z have covered it brilliantly, as has Shanspare, as has Modern Girls recently when it comes to the sexualization of Harry Styles, you know, a real life character that's been turned into movies as well. So there's a lot to be said about that, and that is separate, which is why I'm going to have all of those videos listed for you down below. Fandom is how we identify ourselves, and millennials, we fell into this pretty early, right? What house are you in? If you automatically knew what house you're in, you already know what franchise I'm on about right now. I didn't even read the 4th book because I couldn't make it through, and I know that I'm a Hufflepuff. Now, if you're a fan of that certain magical world, there is a big issue when it comes down to the money that you actually spend on it, whether that's a theme park or merch or streaming the movies even. That money actually goes to profit a bigot who is basically out to destroy a whole bunch of people's lives. And that is a really big issue here. There's people like Verily Bitchy with this video, ContraPoints with this video, and recently ContraPoints actually featured on Matt Bernstein's podcast, which I'll also link for you down below. You probably know Matt Bernstein more from Instagram, but amazing podcast as well. So those videos are all linked down below for you as well when it comes to who our money actually goes to fund. In Understanding Fandom, Mark Duffett states that while fans were once seen as an overly obsessed fraction of the audience, fandom has now become a central mode of consumption.
This is getting dangerous.
Liverpool now run at them here because Bruno Fernandes is going for it! And he's found it!
I love you. This on TikTok and I needed it.
Make some noise!
So powerful.
Are the icons that we love to blame. The first music t-shirts were reportedly made by an Elvis fan club, and then his management seemed to catch on, and then boom, a whole industry was born. Saperstein Presley and his manager signed a licensing agreement in 1956, and the Presley merchandise was sold in retail stores across the United States. The merchandise included t-shirts, skirts, denim, shoes, and jewelry. It was targeted at teenagers. Yay, buying merch from a dude who groomed his future wife from when she was 14. Fun. But it was in the late 1960s where the potential was seen for people to be walking billboards. 1968 rock concert promoter Bill Graham and his San Francisco-based Winterland Productions decided to use concert tees as a way to help promote local bands. This is the traditional kind of t-shirt with the band on the front and then the tour dates on the back, and then bada bing, bada boom, poof! You have a whole new way to advertise, and people have paid money in order to do that for you. Genius! You know AC/DC's lightning logo? This was actually launched through t-shirts. And glam rock band Kiss moved to make their merch their primary source of income. Heck, recently Glamlight actually did a collaboration with Kiss the band as well. But I don't really like Kiss all that much. Gene Simmons tried to trademark the devil horns sign, which is also American Sign Language for I love you. So, you wonder why people in the 90s didn't like glam rock, which is definitely what Kiss falls into. The only redeeming factor for Kiss is this joke in the movie Role Models.
Love gun. See, Ronnie, his dick is the gun.
Anyway, we know how poorly artists get paid for the work that they do. Look at TLC in the 90s all the way to streaming services today. Whether you're streaming music or watching TV shows or movies, like look at the actors and writers strike which happened just last year. How many months did that take for those people to be taken seriously? Working in the creative field is incredibly challenging to do. So people want to support the creators that they appreciate, and can you blame them for wanting to do that monetarily? A study was conducted in 2020 by iPrice which found that K-pop superfans can spend up to $1,400 on their idols, unsurprisingly BTS coming out on top. As reported in Vice, in every album a special collectible photo of a group member is placed inside. Fans usually want a complete set, much like collecting baseball or Pokemon cards. Some buy multiple albums to achieve this, or to finally land a photo of their favourite member. 10 Casey Kessie, 18, is a massive K-pop fan, standing groups like NCT, 17 and EXO. She has spent at least $1,494 on her idols since 2018, and in 2019 BTS alone accounted for $5 billion of South Korea's merch. Ultimately, I think collecting and buying these items makes you feel more connected to the fandom, and you also feel like you've contributed to the band. Everyone's got their own hobby, and mine is collecting BTS merch. And that got to the heart of the issue when it comes to fandoms. This connection with a band, an artist, a game, a sport, a movie. You name it, there's a fandom for it. And when you discover that others hold this same affinity as you, you've found a community through shared interest. And the merch, the albums, is like a constant show and tell. There's always more to get to complete the collection. A collection which never can truly be complete. I know that K-pop gets an awful lot of hate, but this is across industries, right? You can take Disney, for example. You may be aware of my very complicated relationship when it comes to Disney, but I really wanted our honeymoon to actually be in Disneyland because I've wanted to go there literally my entire life. Like, look at the stuff that I even made for our wedding, Disney themed, right? This institution has a huge chokehold on people, and if you're a fan of the parks, you can actually show that you're a fan of them by collecting all sorts of things, from pins to figurines, all the way to popcorn buckets. If you're not aware of this, Disney popcorn buckets are actually an incredibly big deal. They come out with many different versions every year, and they are highly coveted items, and they're also limited edition, something which a lot of companies, bands, sports groups, everything actually participate in to make sure that you get the most amount of sales from things, as we'll see very commonly in this whole video. These plastic popcorn buckets go for a pretty penny, and in 2023 alone, they created 20 individual designs. This scarcity is a huge driver within fandoms as well, so people will go paying heaps of money for even second-hand items of these to make sure that they can complete their collection or to get the authentic experience. Look at Star Wars, for example. So we know George Lucas likes to constantly meddle with things, right? The original version of the original trilogy is only available up until 1997, so VHS tapes, yes, a defunct technology that no one really even buys anymore, this is something which is highly coveted and people pay hundreds of dollars for the pleasure of actually watching. It's created this black market of sorts as well, just to make sure that a true fan can get the authentic experience.
I am a weapon of massive consumption, and it's not my fault, it's how I'm programmed to function.
How can you be a fan and not get lured in? Yang Wei wrote an amazing piece of Varsity, Fandom, the Highest Stage of Capitalism, and how that community aspect really is something which drives everybody together, and the pitfalls of it. Through fandoms, we can identify with something as a signifier of ourselves, and we can find a collective who also think the same way as us, and by buying this merch as a signifier to others, you are part of their group. It allows for this feeling of safety, like look outside of a Taylor Swift concert and see just how many girls and women are just existing collectively together, feeling incredibly safe because they're with each other. They know that everyone's there for the same reason. They have nothing to fear. This feeling of belonging in such times of loneliness and fragmentation is no wonder how this has swelled. And because of social media, we're allowed to see more of this fandom in people's lives. People can display it. It's like this constant show and tell. As Yang says, we are what we buy. The parasocial investments in media objects that constituted the most emotionally fulfilling relationships in my life. You know how much I love Spice Girls, right? I was 7 when they came onto the scene, the prime age. However, like I've spoken about in my videos, there's definitely this issue with just how much stuff, how much plastic, how much waste was created by them in order to sell to people. Now, I know this feeling of FOMO. I know this feeling of like, I desperately wanted to go to the concerts. I desperately wanted all of the merch that they had. I dearly remember the sticker books I had and the calendar on the wall, and that one time I got like a lollipop, which was a microphone. That stuff with the CD and cassette tape, that meant so much to me. However, it wasn't enough. Nothing was ever enough because there was so much more. And seeing all the kids at school get to go to their concerts or the Barbie dolls or the myriad of merch that they actually had, it made me feel like this huge sense of FOMO. Like, what I'm saying is I fully understand this sense of like, oh, I'm not a big enough fan because I don't have this stuff. And it really is amplified, especially when you're younger, especially when you're finding yourself and have like a really strong affinity to something, because we really do use these idols in a way as our identifiers, and we identify so closely with them. And then when you can't get the same signifiers as other people, it feels like they're bigger fans than you, even though that's not really actually the case. It doesn't matter how much someone can buy. That is purely an access issue. But there is definitely pressure within fandoms to buy more, otherwise you're not really that much of a fan, and you don't get as much praise from other people because people are like, oh, I'm so jealous of the connection that you've got, oh, I'm too poor to have this. So watching this unboxing means so much to me. You know, like, it's kind of this shared joy. However, a lot of it is kind of born out of this comparison, right? We can't really deny that fact, and social media really does amplify this comparison factor, which is something which I'll be talking about in a future video. This sense of longing only fuels your want to actually get more, to buy more, to prove that you are a big enough fan. With people releasing limited editions, it creates this sense of scarcity, making collectors out of fans as opposed to fans enjoying the art in itself, which is what a fan is about, may I remind you. But because of capitalism's warp on our mind, this is how you show support. You feel like you're helping them. You may even get noticed by them if you buy enough stuff. And in the music industry in particular, it's encouraged for people to buy more, to stream more, to do more, because that's how you show your support for the artists that you like. You buy multiple copies of the album so you can be part of the success of your idols. K-pop does exemplify this, as there's different photo cards available in different album variants. The more you purchase, and there's more opportunity for prizes too, perhaps even getting to meet the idol or go to a signing. It's literally capitalizing off this fandom, because only true fans would spend so much time and money to support those that they love. It's icky, quite simply, and it is the labels that are doing this. I really want to emphasize, it's the labels. It's these kind of people.
You gotta take what you can, when you can, while you can, and you gotta do it now. That's what the big boys do. If you think Mick Jagger will still be out there trying to be a rock star at age 50, you're sadly mistaken.
It's weaponizing fandom, and it's actually led to an awful lot of waste, such as these viral pictures that you will probably have seen of K-pop albums literally being thrown out in the trash because people have too many duplicates of them that they can't resell them on, but they've got the photo cards that they needed. This is a well-known issue within K-pop fandoms. Like, it translated to roughly 1,395 tons of plastic waste just from CDs alone from sales in South Korea in 2020. There's always this never-ending promotion of newly created merchandise, even peer pressure in fandoms to buy albums and to stream music constantly. Psychology Today shared this piece about football fans being so emotionally tied to their teams, and this applies to all fandoms. According to social identity theory, we all craft our identity within the groups to which we belong. So being a fan of a particular team can be central to an individual's identity. Team identification is the degree to which a fan views the team as an extension of self-identity. Highly identified fans feel a strong psychological connection to their team and a feeling of vicarious achievement when their team wins. This is applicable to your favourite artists topping the charts because you were streaming their music, you were buying their music, you were helping them along, you were promoting them all the time. And highly identified fans were found to be more likely to purchase merchandise. This could be directly from the companies they work with, brands they own, or fan purchase or made. Say you wanted to dress up for the Eras tour, or you want to go Disney bounding, or you want to go and support your favourite football team. What do? You go and buy a new outfit to coordinate with the favourite era of yours, or maybe a few outfits even if you're going for a couple of days. You Disney bound as your favourite characters and buy coordinating outfits to make sure you can get really cute pictures. You buy the new jersey of the team, but then also other things to actually go along with that to complete the full look. You are visibly showing who you identify with, and then you can spot others who are the same as you. Researcher Daniel Wan and his colleagues have found many benefits to strong team identification, including high social self-esteem and lower levels of loneliness and alienation. And in another article from Psychology Today from the same author, she highlights how positive anticipation is for our brains, especially in hard times. Turns out the line between fandom and dopamine release is strong. Being a fan is for so many people a source of repeated positive experiences. Becoming a fan has often been compared to falling in love, because it can produce similar emotions of euphoria and a strong desire to see or interact with a celebrity or media or activity in some way. Seemingly inconsequential events such as a new Instagram post or news story or a new episode of a television series airing, it can be a source of joy for fans. Not just the event itself, but the anticipation of those kind of positive experiences. I wonder if there's been anything negative happening over the past decade. Is the future that most of the world, other than the 1%, facing a bleak one? Yeah, I'd argue yes. I couldn't possibly imagine why people would turn into fandoms for community and joy, can you? In a very active fandom in which there may be constant new content, those surges can happen daily. Just look at TikTok most commonly, people are sharing things, whether that's unboxing something, doing fan edits. There's so many people constantly making content, so then you can never really experience like this waning, this sort of sadness, because there's always something new to give you that nice little dopamine hit that you need. But what happens when that feeling fades? When the feeling wanes, people need more to be able to get that dopamine hit. So this could be finding a new fandom. You may have started out as a fan of BTS, and then you find Blackpink, then Twice, EXO, 17, or maybe even it's a game like Pokemon. The thing is that there's always something new, there's always another fandom to get involved in. The author stresses the importance of having something to look forward to, like how positive anticipation actually is for us. And this article was written in 2022. This was when people were still somewhat taking the panoramic, were still in seriously, even though people definitely aren't. We've seen people break down in tears when they're finally able to go to the concert that they've been anticipating for years, or the sports event. And yet, even with all of this lonely feeling that so many people are still grappling with, that hasn't gone away. But the plastic packaging waste, the duplicate vinyl releases, the constant release of merchandise and merch sales, that only continues to grow. When Taylor releases vinyls, she releases multiple different versions. Like with Midnights, for example, you could buy all 4 of them to be able to make a clock. That album broke the record for her biggest US first week sales with 1.578 million copies sold. But fans have also pointed out the issues with multiple variants actually being released, and the fact that these are limited edition and not all of them are released at the same time. So people kind of panic because you're caught up in this frenzy, you don't want to miss out. You know, like I said, that feeling of longing, that feeling of FOMO, incredibly strong when it comes to fandom. You see it's limited edition, you panic and you buy it, and then 2 days later they come up with a new version and you actually prefer the artwork on it or something, or it's got a different song that you really like, and that was the song that you wanted. And then you're just left with this almost feeling of betrayal because the parasocial relationship is so strong, you know? And so it does leave fans feeling a bit bittersweet about it all, which I fully do understand. Like, if you're gonna release variants, at least in my mind, just release them all at the same time, let people know what the song lists are on each, or the different colours of the vinyl or whatever. Like, just do something like that. Let people make informed purchasing decisions so they don't have to go buy multiple of the same thing. She is not the only artist to do this though. I am a Taylor Swift fan, okay? Please don't come for me, Swifties. I'm not trying to start anything. Beyonce's fans noticed that her latest album actually has 5 fewer songs than what you're able to even get online. So people are buying this album and then noticing, oh, we've kind of been shortchanged here. So then you're also having to spend this energy, because it literally does require electric energy to be able to charge all the servers and everything to stream this music. So then you're kind of having to double handle this experience. And we don't know if she's going to come up with another version of this, or if this is the only one as well. Nobody really knows. And music stars, of course, don't just have their music to lean back on as well. Nicki Minaj came up with her clothing line with Kmart in 2013, for example. You've got the classic perfumes, which we've seen for decades at this point, all the way to makeup lines, hair care, skincare, clothing, collaborations with big brands. Mindy Clegg from Three Quarks Daily said this incredible line: "If capitalism's individual tore asunder communities that sustain people for centuries, consumerism around popular culture offered a new way to build an identity and community." Oh, immaculately put. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I mean, they don't even know what it is to be a fan. Truly love some silly little piece of music or some band so much that it hurts.
Big elephant in the room right now. The ownership elephant. You'll notice that most of these fans are from the younger generations, the generations to which home ownership is but a pipe dream. Moving out of home to be able to live with flatmates even is a pipe dream for many. Work is devolving into gig economies, the climate crisis gets more apparent with every single summer that comes to pass, and inequality is actually growing. So why shouldn't people have something nice? Why not spend the little disposable income that you actually have to bring you some joy? Something which is actually yours. Because we are living in a rental economy. We don't own the art that we enjoy. We stream it, whether that is music or movies or TV shows. Owning a physical copy of something is incredibly rare these days, which is another reason why vinyls have become such a big thing, right? When you actually think about it, it makes perfect sense why we're actually having to buy our sense of self and identity, even if that comes in the junk form of plastic. And the thing is that other people are doing this too, so you feel seen, you feel part of something, other people have more than you, so maybe the guilt is a bit less on you. Creating this community we so miss, because capitalism has stolen our time and energy to the point where even reaching out to people to be able to make this actual community, that is seen as too draining to us. And we just want to be able to turn to this little sliver of joy that we have, and you can see other people enjoying it too, so you're part of this community. It's like easy opt-in community to something where you don't have to have fights. Everyone all loves the same thing. Sure, there may be disagreements about who your favorite member or something is, but there's nothing really too terrible to actually face into there, right? It's a happy little escape, and it makes sense that we've turned to this form of community. You want to be able to turn to that reliable dopamine hit, but at what cost for the planet if being a fan means you have to keep buying and creating waste? As Billie Eilish so matter-of-factly says, "Yeah, we're all gonna die soon, but we can try our best." Oh, Billie, the existential dread is something that I battle with daily. I do really feel for you. And I absolutely agree, we do have to try.
I've sat upon the setting sun.
Ultimately, it really is the industries which need to change, but also what's their incentive to. And the thing is that change has been happening at the fan level as well, like to use the K-pop example. In 2021, a group of fans launched the platform K-pop for Planet as a way to raise concerns about overconsumption in the South Korean entertainment industry. No K-pop on a dead planet. As part of the campaign, organisers collected more than 8,000 unwanted K-pop albums and delivered them to South Korean entertainment companies as a way to illustrate the amount of waste that they create. BTS rapper J-Hope released his 2022 album Jack in the Box without a physical CD. It contained the photo cards, but the album comes with minimal packaging, and fans can scan the QR code instead to download the music separately. But there's a whole bunch of other things which are actually just greenwashing, and that's something which we're just going to keep on coming up against, because ultimately businesses need people to spend more money, because that is how they show success. That is how you show that your star is more important than the other ones. So that's why this constant streaming gets encouraged, this buying of multiple albums gets encouraged. That's why they incentivize this stuff so much. And it's also why Bill is facing this quandary herself and brought it up to begin with, because she just wants to be able to find a solution. She wants everyone to all try and do better, and it's something which we're all facing into, especially, like I said, the climate crisis is already here. And this is where I turn to you, because you made it all the way to the end, and I want to know what you think would actually help. In terms of the emoji to leave, the vinyl record absolutely makes the most sense to leave that if you did make it all the way to the end and you don't know what else to say. And if you're brave enough, could you also please let me know how much you've actually spent on your fandom, whether that's for a game or whether it's for like something like a sports team, Pokemon, or like music or like whatever. I'm really keen to know, because I think a lot of us have spent more than what we actually think. You will have noticed a whole lot of Almost Famous clips throughout this whole video, and that's because it's my favourite. Well, technically Untitled is my favourite, and I spent $61 to get this DVD set. It even comes with the CD from the band, which they actually even created for the movie itself. I love the movie so much, I bought the soundtrack too. What I'm saying is, like, we all buy things that we're huge fans of. I've also got like 5 books on Marilyn Monroe, I've got all her movies and everything, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not trying to say that you're a bad person for being a fan. What I'm saying is maybe it's time for us to actually be more mindful with what we buy and truly treasure them, because I'm never ever letting these out of my sticky little claws, okay? It's never gonna happen. If you actually really do like Almost Famous, maybe you've missed this video which I did about the real lives of groupies, because I really do recommend you actually go and watch that video, and also this video about rock stars as well, or in case you've missed it because YouTube doesn't like me very much at the moment, here's my most recent video. I look forward to seeing you again next time. I hope you lovelies have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'm so excited to continue this conversation in the comments down below. Please remember to be nice to each other, because we're all just trying to survive in this world, right?